In recent years, soaring rates have made refinancing your mortgage less appealing to some homeowners. But the Federal Reserve's half percentage point interest rate cut last week has prompted some homeowners to reconsider their refinancing options. But the question is, when should you do it?
Joshua Dobi is back with us. He's a certified financial planner and the president of North Main Financial Group. All right, Josh, big topic here, obviously, because we've been talking about just the housing and mortgage, all of these things. And now the rate cut happened. Is it the right time to refinance home loans?
Thanks, Lauren. Always good to be with you. Great question. And it really depends upon a couple of big factors. The first one is, what is the current interest rate that someone who's holding that mortgage is paying? And then what is the refinance rate possibility now that rates have started to pull back? There needs to be a sufficient enough spread there. We generally recommend folks get into the 75 or 100 basis point range, 0.75% to 1% or more before that begins to make sense.
Okay, and so you're talking about this range here to make it make sense, basically. But what else should you consider, maybe even outside of that, when deciding whether to refinance and kind of that process?
Couple of big factors, Lauren, when you're looking at it. The biggest one out there is, how long do you plan to stay in your current home? The refinance process comes with expenses. They can sometimes be as much as 2 or 3% of the mortgage that you're looking to refinance. So you want to take that into account, how much in terms of expense it's going to be to refinance, and is the savings you're going to gain by perhaps a lower payment or a cash out or other option that you have in refinancing, how long is it going to take to recoup those expenses that you just incurred for refinancing? Put another way, if you're planning to leave your home in 1 or 2 years or sell it or move on, and it's going to take 3 to 5 years to recoup those costs, in that kind of example, it doesn't make any sense to refinance.
Well, mortgage rates, as we know, don't move in lockstep with the Fed's decision. So when could homeowners and buyers really begin to see that impact that they've probably been waiting for?
Lauren, we've already started to see it a little bit. Interest rates, as far as mortgages are concerned, we're really anticipating the Federal Reserve beginning to cut rates here a couple of weeks ago. Now, they didn't anticipate as much that it was going to reduce the overnight lending rate by 50 basis points as opposed to the 25 basis points, which was largely expected. So they may see some benefit, or they may see some reduction at this point in terms of opportunities to refinance. However, the Federal Reserve has been fairly explicit, at least in terms of Federal Reserve speak, in saying that there are other cut possibilities out there, perhaps at the November and December meetings of this year. So we could see some further reduction in rates. And while there's not a one-to-one correlation, there definitely is a relationship between what the Federal Reserve does and what we can see in terms of refinancing rate possibilities.
So with that being said, I mean, is it worth waiting until, as you said, the Fed has pretty much indicated that more cuts are expected?
That really is the biggest question. And it's really hard because it's an unknown target at this point, meaning how much is the Federal Reserve going to continue to cut, or are they? Now, it seems like they may be, but it's definitely something that folks want to consider. If there's a possibility for a lower rate out there, they may want to wait a little bit. It's also true, now this gets expensive, that you can refinance more than once. Meaning if you refinance and rates continue to fall and the math makes sense for you, you certainly can refinance again. But folks want to be especially mindful of the costs and expenses associated with that, and again, with how long they expect to be in the home or the property that they're refinancing.
All right, Josh Dobi, certified financial planner and president of North Main Financial Group, helping us make sense of it all. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.